we have the largest distribution of anybody in the entire general aviation industry. We've done that kind of incrementally for 50 years. So because of that, we think we're going to be the right people to help really scale this. And people aren't even thinking. I mean, if you look at the other folks in this industry, they're trying to scale from overhead and indirect expense. Like they're spending a ton of people cost to do that. It makes the business unwieldy and ultimately unprofitable. GA is best executed, best scaled with partnerships. And so we've demonstrated that through our third-party dealers and our third-party service centers. We have a really great kind of symbiotic relationship with them where their success is our success and vice versa. And so I think we're going to bring that to bear on this problem and love what the team's doing there. I think we're having some really great foundational learning that informs the R66 project that then will make it a much more commercially ready and scalable solution. So we're really excited about that partnership, and they've been flying the last couple of weeks even more, and it's exciting to see how much work the team's put into to really making this a winner, you know.
Yeah. I couldn't agree with everything you said more. I wonder, were you at some of the flights in Southern California?
No, actually, so it's funny. All the work they had done in terms of the major milestone flights occurred before I joined. And so, I watched from a distance as an industry player. Mike Hirschberg is a good example. All the publications they put out, and Ken Schwartz did a great write-up of this multiple times. So all of those I read from, a competitor perspective back when I was, within the Bell team. And I think, that's why these industry publications really matter, is it kept me aware of how it was progressing. So when I came in, it wasn't like something I had to learn from scratch. There was a lot of great information out there from technical heavy publications like Vertiflight and so on. So
Mike Hirschberg and Ken Swartz have just joined the High Sky Board of Directors. And so we've been
awesome.
talking about, yeah, so we've been talking about how we can kind of revamp their authorship. They are both fantastic writers. And if you could see Mike and Ken continue writing, what do you want to continue to read, like specifically?
Sure. Yeah, I think one of the big areas that we often at the helicopter journals and helicopter type industry publications, we just touch on component. As an example, even in today's generation, there should be more writing about turboshaft engines because that's a piece of today's critical needs all across life-saving industries and military and all that. And we don't dig in enough on turboshaft. There's not like a publication that hits turboshaft engines, and that's really important. I think it will be even for turbo generators on programs that will use hybrid capabilities. So I think there needs to be more detailed discussions about the components and about the subsystems that make this possible. So, for example, in the hydrogen space, I think people should do a lot more detailed work on burning of hydrogen and a lot more work on the fuel cells, which we really believe the fuel cells are the way to go. But there's lots of reason to dig into both and to talk through the storage discussions and the difficulties in containment and hazards related to it. I think a really good discussion is going to always cover what are the hard technical problems people are trying to reconcile. And I don't see enough of that. I don't see enough discussions of we're going to have to mitigate one that is an interesting one for hydrogen is pinhole leaks in containment ultimately can lead to pinhole flames. And so you have to deal with the and barely visible or invisible leaks from all this is going to be something we have to really monitor and manage. And you think about those things, they're different than, fuel leaks on a helicopter today, but someone should write more in-depth and thoughtful, balanced, I'd say. I mean, the way we look at these is does no one any good to only be positive all the time. We need
Yeah.
to have engineers thrive on fixing things and improving. So I think it's a really important value that Ken and Mike, and they're both in positions to appreciate that nuance. So that's what I hope they would dig into is some of the component level items and some of the unique areas that need to be reinforced, the specific issue papers we'd expect from the authorities, all that.